Rollback members, capability members, secretariat, interested leaders, observers, and viewers, good afternoon. Our procurement proceeding for today is a private conference for civil rules. The private conference will now come to order. The prayer led by Mr. Lasimbo.
These clear our minds and listening to each other, respect and understanding. Grant us the ability to make sound decisions and focus to achieve the goals. May our discussions be productive and may our actions reflect integrity and values. Bless our team and our being. We prefer everything to you. Amen.
Salamat ma'am. Once again, our activity for today is a private conference for 9 civil work projects. The 26 LD 0067, construction of road slope protection structure, Bansalan-Mt National Park Group, kilometer 1604 plus 00, kilometer 1604 plus 300. ABC 94,570,000 pieces. Contract duration 447 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0085, preventive maintenance of road, asphalt overlay, Davao-Cotabato Road, Bypass Road, kilometer 1549 plus minus 210 to kilometer 1549 plus 245, kilometer 1550 plus 286 to kilometer 1550 plus 633. ABC 40. Six LD 0085, preventive maintenance of road, asphalt overlay, Davao-Cotabato Bypass Road, kilometer 1549 plus minus 810 to kilometer 1549 plus 245, kilometer 1550 plus 286 to kilometer 1550 plus 633. ABC 48,250,000 pieces. Contract duration 160 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0091. Rehabilitation of multipurpose building, Gymnasium, Punta, Piape, Padada, Davao del Sur. EBC 3,960,000 pieces. Contract duration 90 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0133. Construction of multipurpose building, food hall, social hall, Digos City, Wharf, Dawis, Davao del Sur. EBC 19,800,000 pesos. Contract duration 110 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0184. Preventive maintenance of road, asphalt overlay, Digos diversion road, kilometer 1563 plus 438, kilometer 1564 plus 100. EBC 55,815,600 pesos. Contract duration 143 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0184. Construction of road slope protection structure, Bansalan-Mt National Park Road, kilometer 1602 plus 449 to kilometer 1602 plus 754. EBC 113,484,000 pesos. Contract duration 161 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0196. Construction of multipurpose building for Early Child Development Center, Digos City, Davao. EBC 24,750,000 pieces. Contract duration 240 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0202. Preventive maintenance of road, asphalt overlay, Davao-Cotabato Road, Junction, Digos, Cotabato section. Kilometer 1590 plus 486 to kilometer 1591 plus 300. Kilometer 1592 plus 100 to kilometer 1593 plus 057. ABC 91,924,935 pesos. Contract duration 164 calendar days. So, the next project is 26LD-0403, preventive maintenance of road asphalt overlay, Davao-Cotabato Junction, Digos, Cotabato section. Kilometer 1586 plus 945 to kilometer 1588 plus 009. Kilometer 1590 plus 386 to kilometer 1590 plus 486. Previously 73,859,170 pesos. Manufacturation 135 calendar days. May I request the Secretary Engineer Digos to conduct a roll call and acknowledge the interested bidders and observers.
Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to acknowledge the BAC members, BAC TWG, BAC Secretariat, viewers, leaders, and observers for the pre-bid conference for civil works. Engineer Daisy Caniban, Miss Aisel Carla Uyaw, Engineer Achilles Rayleigh Bulos, Engineer Teresa Relacion, Engineer Miguel Montañez, Engineer James Robin Sarsuma, Miss Lilibet Florentino, Mr. Lopi Carlo Nasibu, Engineer Raymond de la Cruz, Engineer Waldomer Ausa, Engineer Junali Mundi, Engineer Arbilin Bunyo, Engineer Roy Cansancio, Mr. Elton John Albert Terencio, Engineer Ivan Nico Tormes, Engineer Vanessa Lasconia, Engineer Anilurain Diamante, Engineer Kinsey Marie Aliguay, Miss Lucrecia Bucum, and Miss Carla Arnel Lopez. Madam Chair, we issue notice of servers dated July 27, 2026 to Honorable John Tracy Cagas, Congressman Davao del Sur, Kukuha Audit Team, Mr. Eric A. Himelga, State Auditor, to Wilfredo L. Vicina, President, Philippine Constructors Association Incorporated, to the Director, National Constructors Association of the Philippines Incorporated, to Mr. Carlo M. Batalla, President and Chairman, Crime and Corruption Watch CCW International Incorporated, to Honorable Edwin G. Reyes, Municipal Mayor, Bansalan-Mt del Sur, to Honorable Hudson T. Malik, Punong Barangay Managa, Bansalan-Mt del Sur, to Honorable Arnold M. Mercado, Punong Barangay Kalususan, Bansalan-Mt del Sur, to Honorable Macedonio G. Luca Jr., Punong Barangay Santo Niño, Bansalan-Mt del Sur, to Honorable Jose Nelson Z. Sala Sr., Municipal Mayor, Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Dennis B. Ganzon, Punong Barangay Zone 3, Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Joseph Lukich Caga, City Mayor, Digos City, Davao del Sur, to Engineer Salvador Dumugho Deport, City Engineer, Digos City, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Gregorio C. Amasu Jr., Punong Barangay Aplayo, Digos City, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Jewel Carpentero, Municipal Mayor, Padada, Davao del Sur, and to Honorable Silisa M. Saison, Punong Barangay, Punta Piape, Davao del Sur. That's all, Madam Chair.
Since majority of BAC members are present here, I declare that pre-bid conference for civil works is in quorum. So let's proceed to our agenda number 1A, the basic contract data, including contract description, ABC and duration, to be discussed by Engineer Apitan for roads, for Architect Arnel Tan for buildings, and for road slope project by Engineer Domi.
June, next basically, and we will begin to discuss the four notes project. First, we will begin using weeks is week 5. The project name presented details of work. It's particularly the middle of the school. Kilometer 2059 plus 3 is 2.0. Or kilometer 1549 plus 2.5. Kilometer 450 plus 6 to kilometer 52 plus 63. The visible to protect some 8 million first. Check duration 116 kilometers. Source of fund required 67 support RD 1.1. Location Santa Cruz for the shore. This project proposing four sections except for the section B. So section B, land of 1,055 meters, and for the section B, land of 57 meters. Stockwork is part of the way. 6.7 meters width, it is 4.4 meters. Total length 1,402 meters. So the screen, we prepare the person to our responsibility for the responsibility moving course preparedly use cross brigades in binder groups 15 use cross brigades. Next in the screen, the second up connection point so to our responsibility. Next for the road safety, we sanitize the plastic public making worldwide for the center line beach lines of one project. So this is equal to 6 LD 005. Next project, the number 26 LD 004. So the project name preventive maintenance of the road is part of the Digos drivers involved. Kilometer 1563 plus 438 to kilometer 1564 plus 100. With a mission of 45 million 815,600 pesos. Project duration 143 days. Source of fund FY 26 definition currently will take 1 field. Location at Davao City Davao del Sur, site, Power Ping Pong, project, near to City Booster, project. Skateboard is part of the way of 6 lanes. With a weight of 20.1 meters, and it is 100 meters. 50 rim for cross wearing course, most classic events, and calendar course, if they retake, most classic events. Total length of the project is 675 meters, 4.03 kilometer. So 6 is part of a scope of the and also road blocking for the version of snow. The total number of 29 roads, specifically is 180. The road safety, let's impress blocking. White for the intermediate line, each line in pedestrian lane and crosswalk. Specific marking yellow for the roads to line and not to intersection markings. So the screen that was a copy of the slides. Next in the screen, the related is on the intersection marking with crosswalk. So that's only for 26 in this, 0.4. Next project, where the number to 16 weeks, 0.2. With the project name, Preventive Maintenance in Baro, is part of the rim and Dawis Junction of the Procurement section. Kilometer 1590 plus 4x6 to kilometer 1591 plus 300. Kilometer 1592 plus 100 to kilometer 1593 plus 0.7. With a vision of 21 million and 34,134 pesos. Contract duration 164 days. Source of fund in 426 to operation not RA 12314. Location Barangay Kinuspesa Barangay Marble. This project proposed section. Section A, section B po. Nag-follow ang reason for the project. For now, section A, And from kilometer 59 to split 6 to kilometer 52 to 7, we are going to 110 meters, 4 lanes, total of kilometer 324. This should be from kilometer 90 plus 100 to 53% of 7, for 4 lanes and 6 lanes is your section one. Isa ka section from 15 to plus 100 to kilometer 15 plus 6 minutes 58 meters long turn conclusion. Then after 1593 plus 178 to 1593 plus 9, we have over 21 meters. So normally 6 lanes to question. Total of 1.19 kilometer or 5.2 kilometer. Seriously, that it kilometers into a exploitable lane 4 lanes with 6 lane PCCP block. We should explain that the representative exploitable lane of 6 lanes exploitability. For road safety, we select the speed routine where we will city line, intermediate line, and each line is not contact. So that's only for the 16 days, you're not auto. Next project, kita pakai the number 16D 023. Kita project name Preventive International Group, Asphalt Road, Davao-Cotabato Road, Junction Digos Cotabato Section, kilometer 56 plus 945, kilometer 58 plus 009, kilometer 59K plus 36, kilometer 59K plus 486. Labis yung mga tao, 3 million, pesos. Duration ng 25 minutes. Source income 5 to 6 degrees of natin 314. This project composed of 2 section. Section A, Barangay Santorino Bansalan. Section B, Barangay Maragogo. Scope 1 is part of the for section A, from kilometer 36 plus 1045 or kilometer 38 plus 609. Length of 1,066 meters, 4 lanes. Next, section B, kilometer 59 plus 86 or kilometer 46, 100 meters, 4 lanes. Total of 1.166 kilometer or 4.66 4 lane kilometer. We display the typical meters into a stop overlay of 4 lanes. The route safety, we saw the first marking for one, with the center line, intermediate line, and each line goes into our project. Next. And also, the road safety, we saw the also the road with 9 meter pole, it was 2.1 months. For the piston force of the slip line, then first street, use split 40 for 12 diameter below, and then 60 for 16 diameter above. And for the structural concrete, use 4,000 base unit and use plus aggregates for. So that's only for the roads for project one. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's proceed to the building projects. We have about 3 building projects for today's BBID conference. Let's start with contract ID number 26L0091, contract name Rehabilitation Multi-Purpose Building, Gymnasium, Punta, Piape, Padada, Davao del Sur, with appropriation of 4 million pesos and EBC amount of 3,960,000 pesos with compensation of 30 calendar days. Funded under 2026 GA or RA123. So here's the existing generation has to be rehabilitated. So this building or the generation is located at Barangay Piape. Here's the vicinity map. Here's the building photo of the existing gym. And now for the scope of work. So the following 100 millimeter thick concrete slab overlay with dimensions of 30 meters and 18 meters. And then we have a removal and replacement of existing reinforced concrete bleachers to be replaced with 3 tiers bleachers, and installation of canopy and roofers. Here's the picture, the front and the rear elevation of the gymnasium. Aside from removal and installation of louvers, we have also the repainting of whole metal structures and replacement of the dilapidated or existing roof. Here's the right side and the left side elevation showing the lower details and the canopy has been installed. And for the summer quantities, you have the following: the general requirements, the permissive clearances, under earthwork, you have an individual removal chain, removal structure and suction, excavation. We also have a reinforced concrete, the 3,000 and 4,000 PSI structural concrete, and the grade 14 and grade 16 reinforcing steel. Under finishing other civil works, masonry works, finishing works, which includes the reflective insulation, painting works for the masonry or concrete and steel, roof framing and roofing works, plumbing, which includes the storm drainage and downspout, and catch basin and bridging works. Next, for contract 2026 LD0133, or the contract name construction of multi-purpose building, food hall, or social hall, Digos City Wharf, Dawis, Digos City, Davao del Sur. The appropriation amount of 20 million pesos, ADC amount of 19,800,000 pesos, the contract duration of 210 calendar days, funded under 2020 or relocating. So here's a vicinity map for the project, which is located in Barangay Dawis, the Barangay one, Dawis one. Here's a site development plan, which is located next to our mini plaza in Sunas Below. So here's the perspective of our social hall or function hall, a one-story building. And here's the floor plan, which should be with dimensions of 39 meters by 17 meters, with total floor area of 663 square meters. The spaces provided, such as the open space for the social hall or function hall, a hallway, a space for concessionaires, the female and the male toilet room. The building will be composed of 4 bench beams or I-beams placed over reinforcement pedestals. So for the small quantities, we have the following: the general requirements, the permissive clearances, earthwork, which includes the structure excavation and embankment, reinforced concrete, the 3,000 and 4,000 PSI structural concrete, and equipped for the grade 60 reinforcing steel. Under finishing and other civil works, we have the cemetery works, masonry works, fabricated materials in the doors, the windows, finishing work, such as work, ceiling, insulation, and aluminum cladding, painting works for masonry, concrete, wood and steel, roof framing and roofing works. Also, we have let's see. And lastly, for contract I-26 L0196, or the contract name construction of multi-purpose building of Early Child Development Center, Digos City, Davao del Sur, with appropriation amount of 25 million pesos, with ABC amount of 24,750,000 pesos, with a contract duration of 240 calendar days, funded under 2026 DPWH. Here's a visiting map, which we project located in Piape to the newly acquired lot under City of Digos. So here's a satellite plan, which been created right next to DTA building. Here's a perspective of a two-story building. So for this project, the building has total floor area of 506 square meters, and on the ground floor, 276 square meters, with dimensions of 23 meters by 10 meters. So here's the spaces in the ground floor. First, porch, lobby, storage room, corridor, classroom, then a female and male public toilet. In the second floor, a total floor area of 230 square meters, which includes the spaces such as the lobby, office, classroom, activity center, a corridor, the female and male toilet. So that buildings is total for 506 square meters, both of ground floor and second floor. The building will be composed of wide fringe or railings and structures on concrete pedestals. Next, for the civil quantities, you have the following, which are requirements, supervision clearances. Earthwork, you have individual removal of tree, removal of construction, excavation and movement. Under reinforced concrete, we have the 3,000, 4,000 PSI structural concrete in the grade 14, grade 16, and 416. Under finishing under civil works, you have masonry works, fabricated materials such as doors and windows, finishing works such as ceiling, tile works, and insulation, cleaning works for masonry or concrete, wood, and steel, roof framing or roofing works, plumbing, which includes a catch basin, storm drainage and housepout, sewer and works, over railway plumbing fixtures and depot, electrical works and other mechanical works. We have the air conditioning system, fire extinguishers, and smoke detectors. That's it for the building projects.
Once again, good afternoon, everyone. We would like to discuss the two road slope protection projects. So we start with LD number 26LD0067 with the project name of Construction of Road Slope Protections Structure Bansalan-Mt National Park Road, kilometer 1604 plus 000 to kilometer post 1604 plus 300 with an ABC of 94,570,000, contract duration of 447 calendar days, source of fund of FY 2026 government. This project composed of one section only, and it is located at Barangay Balutakay, Bansalan, Davao del Sur. Shown is the location of the project. Next. Shown is the typical section of road slope protection structure. For this project, but the material used are steel sheet pipe, U-type, with tile cap, and sand gravel filled with jute bag, geotextile, and gouted soil pipe. Next. Shown is the blow up detail of copy with a dimension of 0.6 meters by 1.2 meters. And the sheet values is U-type. Next. Shown is for drainage structure. Shown is the typical detail of line canal reinforced concrete. The strength of the canal is 3,000 psi with a width of 0.7 meters and height of 0.8 meters. Next. Shown is the typical detail and properties of steel sheet pile used for this project. It is U-type hot roll with a width of 400 and next. For road safety, we provided guardrail, shown is the typical detail provided guardrail with a thickness of 2.67 mm. Next. One of the technology used for this project is infrared, shown is the permanent ground contour, 32 mm diameter, grade 60, space 1.75 meters horizontally and 1.75 meters vertically. Next. Shown is the infrared detail again for blow up detail. Next. Another technology used is sandbag. The sandbag is filled with jute bag wrapped around by geometry. Next. Shown is the blow up detail of the sandbag used for this project. Next. Shown are the geotag photos and location of projects. Next. 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 Next for 26 LD0194 with a project name of construction of road slope protection structure Bansalan-Mt National Park Road, kilometer post 1602 plus 449 to kilometer post 1602 plus 754 with an ABC of 113,484,000, with a contract duration of 461 calendar days, and source of funds of backlog in 2026. For this project, it composes of two sections, and again, it is located at Barangay Balutakay, Bansalan, Davao del Sur. Shown is the location map of the project. Shown is the typical detailed road section of the project. There is also a widening of road, one lane only at right side, with a width of 3.25 meters, thickness of 0.3 meters, and also paved shoulder with a width of 1.5 meters, thickness of 0.15 mm. And shown also, there's also a, for drainage, we propose also a line canal reinforcement bridge. For this, the material used for this project are geoweb with a sandbags, also vegetation, geotextile, and gabions. Next, for structural support, shown is the foundation detail of the project. Next, shown is the blow-up detail of the foundation. Also, for structural support, shown is the blow-up detail of capping. The dimension of capping used is 0.6 by 0.6 meters, and the sheet pile used also is hot rolled view types steel sheet pile. For drainage structure, we propose a complete canal, line canal reinforced complete with a strength of 3,000 psi, width of 0.7 meters, height of 0.8 meters. Shows the detail of steel sheet pile and the properties of the sheet pile used. Shows the details of PCCP with a thickness of 0.3 mm thick. Shows a typical plan of two-lane downward pavement. And for safety, we provide the signage, which is the chevron. Shown is the details of the chevron. The typical size of 450 by 600. Next, also for safety, we provided guardrail with a thickness of 2.67 mm. For this project, one of the technology used is the JWeb. Shown is the JWeb cellular confinement detail and its specification. Next, another technology is sandbag, and is shown is the sandbag with specific detail and its specification. Next, shown is the typical detail of gabion. Shown is elevation and subjectivity of the gabion. Next, shown is the location and the geotag photos of the project. Next. That's good.
The next agenda number 1B, the requirement of bidding documents, including instruction to bidders, general condition of contract, special condition of contract specification, drawings, bill of quantities, and forms. For agenda number 1C, the documents to be submitted by the bidders. And for agenda number 1D, the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification, and award. To be discussed by Engineer Achilles Lemy Gomez.
Bid envelope shall contain the following technical documents, including the eligibility documents. First, valid PhilJIP's registration certificate, platinum membership, all pages, in accordance with section 20 of the IRR of RA 12009. QR code must be clear and readable. Failure of the bidder to update its FOJEP certificate of registration with the current and updated supporting documents shall result in the automatic suspension of the bidder's certificate. Second, special PCAB license and registration in case of joint venture. Third, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Failure by the bidder to disclose all ongoing government and private contracts leads to automatic disqualification and potential blacklisting for misrepresentation. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: 1. Copy of notice of award and/or contract. 2. Copy of notice to proceed issued by the project owner. And 3. Copy of certificate of accomplishment signed by the project owner or authorized representative. In case of no ongoing contract, the bidder shall submit this duly signed form and indicate no ongoing contracts under the column number 1. Dual purpose of the statement all ongoing contracts. It is relevant in relation to the computation of the NFCC formula. The value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of ongoing contracts will be deducted from the product of the current assets minus liabilities multiplied by 15. Hence, for the procuring entity to determine the correct computation of the NFCC, the bidder shall declare all of its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. The statement of all ongoing government and private contracts still has its significance in relation to the verification on the bidder's performance in its ongoing contracts during post-qualification process. Fourth, statement of single largest completed contract, or SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, in accordance with instructions to bidders, clause 5.5. SLCC must be equivalent at least 50% of the ABC. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: 1. Copy of contract. 2. Copy of certificate of completion. And 3. Copy of certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the constructor's performance evaluation system. In case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: 1. Copy of latest audited financial statement, or AFS. And 2. Copy of proof of receipt for AFS submitted to the BIR. Confirmation receipt for online submission, or BIR receipt stamp for manual submission. 6. Joint venture agreement, if applicable. Joint ventures may participate, provided that the primary purpose of each member must be similar or related to the requirements of the project. Each member of the joint venture shall jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity in case of breach or failure to comply with the requirements of the project. 7th, bid security in the prescribed form and amount in accordance with instructions to bidders, clause 16, and validity period under clause 15. The bid security shall be in the form of a bid securing declaration, or any of the following: the amount of not less than 2% of the ABC if bid security is in cash, the amount of not less than 5% of the ABC if bid security is in surety bond. Bids and bid security shall be valid for 120 calendar days from bid opening. 8th, project requirements, which shall include the following: 1. Organizational chart for the contract. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. 2. List of contractors' key personnel to be assigned to the contract with their qualification data. These personnel must meet the required minimum years of experience set in the bid data sheet. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: letter of nominee, notarized certificate of employment, biodata, copy of PRC ID, PTR, TIN, and certificate of accreditation and training. Key personnel, particularly the project manager, project engineer, and materials engineer, must be different persons. Accredited safety officer, required upon issuance of notice of award, subject to Department Order Number 35, Series of 2021. First aider with certificate of training issued by the Red Cross in compliance with Department of Labor and Employment requirements for the approval of construction safety and health program required upon issuance of notice of award, subject to Department Order Number 35, Series of 2021. Compliance to DOE Department Order Number 252, Series of 2025. Revised implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act Number 11058, entitled An Act Strengthening Compliance with Occupational Safety and Health Standards and Providing Penalties for Violations thereof. 3. List of contractors' major construction and laboratory equipment units to be assigned to the contract, supported by certifications of availability, which must meet the minimum requirements for the contract set in the bid data sheet. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: proof of ownership, ORCR, and affidavit of ownership. Lease contract and affidavit of commitment, if applicable. Purchase agreement, if applicable. Certification of availability of equipment issued by owner, lessor, or vendor. And certification of minimum laboratory equipment duly certified by any DPWH office. 4. Notarized omnibus sworn statement in accordance with Section 54.3 of the IRR of RA 12009, supported by duly notarized special power of attorney, board, partnership resolution, or secretary's certificate, whichever is applicable. 5. Latest General Information Sheet, or GIS, reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission for corporations. 6. ISO 9001-2015 certification, or its latest version, as applicable, in compliance with Department Order Number 110, Series of 2024. The second bid envelope or the financial component shall contain the following: 1. Bid form. 2. Bid prices in the bill of quantities. 3. Detailed estimates including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid. And 4. Cash flow by quarter. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Format and signing of bids. Bidders shall submit their bids through their duly authorized representative using the appropriate forms provided in Section 9, Philippine bidding documents related forms on or before the deadline specified in the ITB Clause 19 in 2 separate sealed bid envelopes, which shall be submitted simultaneously, whether through manual or online electronic submission. The first envelope shall contain the technical component of the bid, including eligibility requirements under ITB Clause 12, and the second envelope shall contain the financial component of the bid. Forms as mentioned in ITB Clause 17.1 must be completed without any alterations to their format. No substitute form shall be accepted. Each and every page of the bid form, including the bill of quantities under Section 9 hereof, shall be signed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Failure to do so shall be a ground for the rejection of the bid. Any insertions, erasures, or overwriting shall be valid only if they are signed or initialed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Sealing and marking of bids. Bidders shall enclose their technical documents described in ITB Clause 12 in one sealed envelope marked as technical component, and the financial component in another sealed envelope marked as financial component, sealing them all in an outer envelope marked as bid. The bid shall be typed or written in ink and shall be signed by the bidder or its duly authorized representative. All envelopes shall contain the name of the contract to be bid in capital letters. Bear the name and address of the bidder in capital letters. Be addressed to the procuring entity's bids and awards committee in accordance with ITB Clause 18.1. Bear the specific identification of this bidding process indicated in the ITB Clause 1.1. And bear a warning: do not open before the date and time for the opening of bids in accordance with ITB Clause 19. For manually submitted bid envelopes that are not properly sealed and marked, as required in the bidding documents, the same shall be accepted, provided that the bidder or its duly authorized representative shall acknowledge such condition of the bid as submitted. On the other hand, unsealed or unmarked bid envelopes, or bids that cannot be opened or corrupted in case of online submission, shall be rejected. The Bids and Awards Committee shall assume no responsibility for misplaced or lost contents of the improperly sealed or marked bid, or for its premature opening. Bid documents must be prepared on A4 size paper and properly labeled with ear tag, matching those on the checklist. All supporting documents, photocopied from the original, shall be legibly readable and will be authenticated as needed during the post-qualification process. Illustration for the sealing and marking of bids. The bidder shall submit one original and one copy of the technical and financial components of its bid. Submission and receipt of bids. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic online. For bids to be submitted manually, bids must be duly received by the Bids and Awards Committee Secretariat on or before the scheduled date set in the bidding documents. For bids to be submitted electronically online, bidders should observe the guidelines for the electronic submission and receipt of bids as per Department Order Number 87, Series of 2020. Bids submitted after the deadline shall not be accepted. Email address for the electronic bid submission: electronicbids_Davao del Sur at dpwh.gov.ph. Bidder's responsibilities. The bidder, by the act of submitting its bid, shall be deemed to have inspected the site, determined the general characteristics of the contract works and the conditions for this project, and examine all instructions, forms, terms, and project requirements in the bidding documents. Further, the bidder shall bear all costs associated with the preparation and submission of its bid. The procuring entity shall in no case be responsible or liable for those costs, regardless of the conduct or outcome of the bidding process. Furthermore, the bidder should be aware that the procuring entity will accept bids only from those that have paid the applicable fee for the bidding documents of the office indicated in the invitation to bid. Clarifications and amendment of bidding documents. Prospective bidders may request for clarifications on and/or interpretation of any part of the bidding documents. Such requests must be in writing and submitted to the Bids and Awards Committee of the procuring entity at least 10 calendar days before the deadline set for the submission and receipt of bids. Supplemental bid bulletins may also be issued upon the procuring entity's initiative for purposes of clarifying or modifying any provision of the bidding documents not later than 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. It shall be the responsibility of all prospective bidders, including those who have properly secured the bidding documents, to inquire and secure supplemental bid bulletins that may be issued by the Bids and Awards Committee. Eligibility criteria, evaluation. Eligibility criteria shall be in accordance with Section 52.4.2 of the IRR of RA 12009. Eligibility evaluation for the procurement of locally funded civil works contracts shall be conducted electronically using the Civil Works Registry pursuant to Department Order Number 64, Series of 2012. Contractors who wish to participate in the bidding are encouraged to enroll in the DPWH Civil Works Application, or CWA, at the Procurement Service, 5th floor DPWH Building, Bonifacio Drive, Port Area, Manila. While those already enrolled shall keep their records current and updated. Preliminary examination of bids. The Bids and Awards Committee shall open the bids in public immediately after the deadline for submission and receipt of bids, as specified in the bid data sheet. In case the bids cannot be opened as scheduled due to justifiable reasons, the Bids and Awards Committee shall take custody of the submitted bids and reschedule the opening of bids on the next working day, or at the soonest possible time, through the issuance of notice of postponement to be posted on the PhilJEPS and DPWH websites. The Bids and Awards Committee shall open the technical and financial proposals on the same day. The bidders or their duly authorized representatives may attend the opening of bids. Detailed evaluation and comparison of bids. The procuring entity's evaluation of bids shall be based on the bid price quoted in the bid form, which includes the bill of quantities. The procuring entity will undertake the detailed evaluation and comparison of the bids which have passed the opening and preliminary examination of bids to determine the lowest calculated bid, or LCB. The Bids and Awards Committee shall immediately conduct a detailed evaluation of all bids using non-discretionary criteria considering the following. A. Completeness of the bid. Bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bid data sheet shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. B. Arithmetical corrections. The BAC shall consider computational errors and omissions to enable proper comparison of all eligible bids. Any adjustment shall be calculated in monetary terms to determine the calculated prices. The BAC shall evaluate all bids on an equal footing to ensure fair and competitive bid comparison. For this purpose, all bidders shall be required to include in their bids the cost of all taxes, such as, but not limited to, value-added tax, income tax, local taxes, and other fiscal levies and duties. Such bids, including said taxes, shall be the basis for the bid evaluation and comparison. Post-qualification. The BAC shall determine to its satisfaction whether the bidder that is evaluated as having submitted the lowest calculated bid complies with and is responsive to all the requirements and conditions specified in ITB Clause 5 and 12. The determination shall be based upon an examination of the documentary evidence of the bidder's qualifications submitted pursuant to ITB Clause 12, as well as other information as the procuring entity deems necessary and appropriate, using a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion, which shall be completed within a period of 12 calendar days. If the BAC determines that the bidder with the LCB passes all the criteria for post-qualification, it shall declare the said bid as lowest calculated responsive bid and recommend to the head of the procuring entity the award of contract to the said bidder at its submitted bid price or its calculated bid price, whichever is lower. Reservation clause. Notwithstanding the eligibility or post-qualification of a bidder, and without incurring any liability, the head of the procuring entity at any stage of the procurement reserves the right to review its qualifications, reject any and all bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award the contract in the following situations. A. If it has reasonable grounds to believe that a misrepresentation has been made by the said bidder. Or B. If it has reasonable grounds to believe that there has been a change in the bidder's capability to undertake the project from the time it submitted its eligibility requirements. Should such review uncover any misrepresentation made in the eligibility and bidding requirements, statements, or documents, or any changes in the situation of the bidder, which will adversely affect its capability to undertake the project so that it no longer meets the prescribed eligibility or bid evaluation criteria, the procuring entity shall consider the said bidder as ineligible and disqualify it from participating further in the bidding process or being awarded the contract. Award of contract. The head of the procuring entity shall award the contract to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated responsive bid, or LCRB. The procuring entity shall notify the winning bidder in writing that its bid has been accepted through a notice of award duly received by the bidder or its representative person. End of presentation. Thank you.
For agenda number 2, any questions, comments from the interested bidders and from other representatives of procuring entity? So let's proceed to agenda number 3, the other matters. It is informed to the interested bidders that cancellation of order of payment is not allowed without justification and valid reason. And also, all bidders sending the representative must acquire the special power to clearly stay and should be specific to the project they want to participate. For the summary of proceedings, including supplemental bid bulletins to be issued, to be discussed by Engineer Miguelos.
Madam Chair, as of this date, no supplemental bulletins.
If not, the private conference adjourned at exactly 2:58 p.m. Thank you.